So let's work through the rest of these exercises that we didn't get to today. Here's exercise 6. I've divided it into clauses. So we have he gune e pen auto. He gune is the nominative singular of gune gunaikos, and it means woman or wife. A pen, you'll recognize the aorist stem and the third person singular ending. So it's indicative, aorist, active, third person singular of Lego. And then here we have the dative personal pronoun. So the woman said to him, and let's go ahead and do this one down here. This is the indicative present tense active third person singular of Lego. It has the present tense stem and the third person singular ending. And here we have another dative pronoun, except it's feminine instead of masculine. And we have ho Jesus in the nominative as the subject. So we have Jesus says to her. So then what does she say? Here we have echo, which should be familiar because it's the lexical form. It's indicative present tense active first person singular. And so this is going to be I have. But then with the ook, we have I don't have. And then andra is from aner. That's the nominative form. But andra is a third person noun. And this is the masculine singular accusative form. And so that's it. That makes that the direct object. So I do not have a man, or I do not have a husband. Aner means man or husband. We translated this already. So down here we have again a verb. We have the aorist stem and the alpha sigma, which is the second person singular ending. So you said is what that means. Kalos has to do with good or right, and the os ending is the adverb. So you have said well, you have spoken well, you have said rightly, something like that. And then we have the hoti, and here we're going to translate it as open quotes. And here we have andra uk echo, same thing as we have up here, except in a different word order. Uk echo andra, I have no husband. This is that hoti, which makes it difficult to translate in English. We can just say you spoke well, I have no husband. Or if we want to put it in English using that, you spoke well that you have no husband. Then we have to change this, because when we have a quote that's an indirect quote, in English we change the pronouns. All right, that's it for sentence 6. Let me put up sentence 7 and we'll keep going. Okay, so let's look at sentence 7. We have a pen autois ho Jesus. Again, we parsed a pen in the last sentence, so I'm not going to do that again. But we have here a dative plural. So we get the subject, Jesus said to them. And then here's what he says, a pon. This ending, it's the same verb, same parsing, except for this is first person singular. So I said, and we have another dative plural here. So I said to y'all. I spoke to y'all might be better here. I said to y'all. And pisteuete. So pisteuo is the verb. And it's just the second person plural ending of the indicative present tense active form. So y'all believe. Now, remember that this is the same form as the imperative present second plural. So how do we know this isn't an imperative? Well, normally we have to try both and see if maybe a second person plural that looks like a present tense is actually an imperative. But here we have a clue. We have the word u, and u is only used with the indicative, not with the imperative. If it were imperative, the no would be the may. And so here we absolutely know that it's the present tense, not the imperfect, because we don't have a may, we have an u. So we don't always get a negated verb, but when we do, that tells us the difference. So here we have, I spoke to you and you do not believe. And so then we have ta erga ha. So here we have a relative pronoun. It's neuter singular, just like the ta erga. So we have the beginning here of a dependent clause. And the dependent clause, so let's look at the dependent clause first. Pollo is from polleo, and it's just the present tense, first person singular. So I myself do in to onamati. So this is the dative singular. And notice that when we have articles, when we know the declension of the article, that can help us, even if we've forgotten the declension, the third declension, or whatever declension the noun happens to be. We have to be careful because sometimes the article and the noun might not be exactly together, but most of the time, the article will be right in front of the noun, and we can look at the article and say, oh yeah, dative singular article. Is this dative singular? Oh yeah, it's third declension nouns have a iota as the end of the dative singular, so that works. So the article can help us out figuring out what gender number case the noun is. So in the name, and here we have a genitive, tu patros, third declension genitive ending is Omicron sigma. Again, the noun here helps us out. So the name of the father, and then mu is another genitive, and this time it modifies father. So in the name of my father. So I am doing, in the name of my father, I'm doing what? The accusative relative pronoun here is the direct object of the verb. So, which I do in the name of my father. So, this is where the relative clause ends. And this tauta helps us out with that because here we have a neuter singular ending, just like with ta erga. And in this case, it's nominative, neuter, plural. It's nominative, neuter, plural with a third person singular verb. That happens. So these works testify about me. A mu is the genitive, goes with the um, uh, preposition peri. So we get these works testify about me. And with the relative clause, we get these works that or which I am doing in the name of my father testify about me. So that's sentence 7. Let me pause for a minute and we'll start with sentence 8. Okay, sentence 8, we have a pen auto Simon Petros. Again, I think I told you that you'll come very quickly to recognize a pen as the aorist of Lego, and the only question is going to be what the ending is. Here we have the third person singular ending. We have the dative direct object. So we have Simon Peter said to him, and then we have the vocative of Kyrios, so Lord. And then we have the dative of tisti, and akoluthesomen is from akolutheo. And if you notice, there's no augment. And the only thing we have here is we have the sigma, which makes the epsilon turn into an eta. So if we have a sigma but no augment, that tells us that it's the future tense. So we have an indicative, future, active, and omen is the first person plural ending. So this then gets translated, we will follow. That's the future. And akolutheo is a verb that takes the dative case. So whoever you're following goes in the dative. So we will follow you is what it would be. We will follow someone. But here the someone is the interrogative pronoun. So we have, Lord, whom will we follow? And then we have this last part, remata zoes ioniu eches. So eches is from echo, and it's the indicative present tense active, second person singular. So this will be translated you have. So now we're looking for an accusative direct object. Here we have rema, remata, third declension noun, and it's neuter singular, neuter plural. Neuter plural accusative. Now that is a difficulty in the third declension, is that masculine singular nouns start with an alpha, as well as neuter plural accusative and nominative. So it's important to be on your toes. But here we have the direct object. This is what you have. You have the words. And then here we have a genitive, and the genitive adjective that modifies it. So eternal life. So words of eternal life. You have the words of eternal life, or you have words of eternal life. That's it. That's the end of section A exercises. And I will see you again in chapter 13. Let me know if you have any questions.